white ass. Fuck you, dude.
Jake's just looks better because it's all white background.
I tried doing mine. Oh, we're live.
You like it, don't you, you marks? Huh?
Yeah, we do.
Speaking of marks, what up, you marks? Welcome to Pod Jobbers, baby. It is your March 26th, 2020 edition, and we have a threesome today. Threesome? Triple threat match. We'll go with that.
We'll go with that.
Yeah, that sounds a little better, right? Missing the link to our fatal four-way. Brett Morris is taking some PTO today from the Pod Jobbers podcast. So we have the villain, Jake, your host, alongside Charles Martinez. Say hello to the fans.
CL Kid. Why do I want to get a nickname if you're going to be the villain? Give me something here.
Rename your area, and then we'll nickname you. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll call you the Orlando Kid. How about that?
The Orlando Kid who likes soccer. Which, speaking of not liking soccer, King Deucey.
How you guys doing tonight?
Show those 28 inches, bro.
Show you my 3-incher.
Ooh. All righty then. Well, we're gonna kick things off like we normally do with a Swerve Bro, where we ask each other questions. I'm gonna start us off while you guys think of your questions. This was a week action-packed filled with promos from each organization as they are trying to figure out how to liven the show. There's a ton of promos this week. Who, in your opinion, had the best promo this week? King Doozy, I'll start with you.
Wow. That's really tough. I mean, you're looking at all these people doing all these vignettes and everything like that. And you're trying to wonder, you know what? I mean, this wasn't necessarily a promo, but I love the Seth Rollins heat that he was building on himself, saying how if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't have NXT. We wouldn't have WWE Network, basically. The guy's just a basic asshole, all right? And so I loved it. I honestly hate Seth Rollins again. It's fun. Charles.
Yeah, that's actually a great choice. I probably would have gone there had I come to my mind quick enough. But I'm going to roll with Randy Orton. I like what he's been doing. He's definitely filling his role. It's been a long time since he's really vibed with that heel role. And promo source, obviously he's always doing the heel thing, but his promos have been spot on. They feel reasonable. They feel real. And I really like it. I mean, that Seth Rollins promo, like you said, was great. It really delivered, really gave it some meaning, but I'll stick with Randy because he's just got the vibe right now. What you going with, villain?
Dude, Seth Rollins is that Monday Night Messiah. Can't get better than that. Kevin Owens slacking on the babyface side while Seth Rollins just lighten up the fans and making a ton of followers out of us. Pretty hard to go by. I actually, while it's not critically acclaimed, I did love AJ Styles cutting a classic promo on The Undertaker, just bashing him with some obscene jokes, some of which we'll get to later, referencing that super popular Netflix documentary, The Tiger King, with Joe Exotic. He brought that into the mix. He called out his wife. It's just, I don't know about you guys, but I'm loving this fourth wall breaking. It's all over the place now.
Yeah, I'll roll with that. Definitely. When John Cena came out and did it, before The Fiend came out, that was the first time that I really, really enjoyed the fourth wall break. Edge did a really good job with it as well. But Cena took that to the next level. Now it seems like a lot of people are doing it because there's really no other option. It's starting to click for sure.
Well, I mean, with everybody inside their homes, people are flourishing to, their Hulu, their Netflix. There's something for them to grab on of, and once they got a hold of something, they can make a joke out of it, and that's what WWE is doing. I mean, last week, AEW had the wrestlers in the stands. This week we didn't have that, so now it's like, all right, we got to still bring something to the table. Well, here we go. Let's chuck in some of this other stuff and make light of all these people who are, flocking to their TVs. So yeah.
I love it. It's just ESPN has cut off all sports, but you know what they chose to show? Wrestling, baby. Hell yeah. And it's been to take it from AEW, dynamite, to witness and watch all these promos and the fourth walls being broken left and right. We talk about it every week, but the just the energy, the emotion, the passion from Edge and Orton to still display that without a live audience, it just really is a testament to their skills, because they don't have the crowd to feed off of or react to in a certain way. And Orton is just killing it at being this like psychotic, vengeful, doesn't care what's in his path. He's going to destroy Edge. And he doesn't care. I mean, even in his eyes, when you watch his eyes on TV, it's like Bane from The Dark Knight Rises. It's just, you're like, oh my God, I want this match right now. I want it now. Born in darkness. You think Glamazon's your ally?
Bezos couldn't help you now.
Yeah. All right, so that's my swerve. Doozy, what's your swerve question, dude?
Well, you know what? I got to go with here. And how do you think the heavyweight championships are going to be split up next weekend? Will we see, the women's on one night, the men on the other night? Are they going to mix in between here? What do you guys think here? And I'm going to go to the villain here on this one first.
That's a really good question. I have no idea how they're going to book this Saturday, Sunday night thing. It's kind of odd. I tend to lean more towards like one show's belts will be on one night and the other show's belts will be on the other night. But in the past, when they've done like Survivor Series and some of these combined pay-per-views, you haven't seen the split up too much. So I'm going to go with, we're going to see SmackDown's women's on Saturday, Raw's men's on Saturday, and then SmackDown's men's and Raw's women's on Sunday.
I'd say that's almost perfect right there. Go ahead, Charles.
No, yeah, I would say actually what they probably will do, in my opinion, will be they'll probably take the breakdown. If you look at how they do Mania, typically, obviously all in one night, but you take each day, each show, SmackDown and Raw, and you break it into thirds. So you have your lower tier matches, then you have your mid card belts like Intercontinental US, and then you have your two heavyweight championship belts. I think it'll work like on a tier system where it's like, obviously the main title is what, Lesnar, right? But at that point, he doesn't seem to end the show anymore because they like to feature him a little differently. So you're going to take a lower end SmackDown match, take a mid card Raw match, and take the higher end SmackDown match for one day. And then you're going to take the other try and take the lower end Raw, the mid card SmackDown, and go the main event back to Raw. I don't know which day will get which, but then there's the whole women's matches and how they've risen to something. So maybe they'll try to give Becky Lynch that main eventer on one of the nights just to keep that fair thing. But I don't think it'll be show specific.
See, that's what I was kind of getting into, was whether or not we're going to have the man headline Saturday night or the man headline Sunday night, because we all know that that's going to be the headline. It's going to be the last match of one of those nights. And Jake, you may hate on the man. Right. I mean, not just because I want it, but because everybody wants it. They want to see the man versus Shayna Baszler. And I guarantee you, she's going to be the Sunday night main eventer because everybody's going to be tuned in. They're going to be like, all right, we're getting the man tonight. It's on. Because I know that's what I'll be doing. Pants on or off. I haven't decided yet. But, and so then they'll flip-flop it. They'll either give us Goldberg Saturday night or Brock Saturday night. Either way, we're going to get one shit show of a show.
You're gonna book Bocce Lynch over Goldberg and Reigns?
Are you kidding me? Any day of the week.
And not just that, but Bocce Lynch, I don't really think she's such a move botcher, but Goldberg and Reigns could be a 20-second match. So I don't even
Probably
think
will be.
that's another thing. You got to factor that kind of garbage in. You could easily.
I'm usually 20 seconds with Becky Lynch too, so.
But that's when you rewatch it later in the middle of the night on the network, not when you watch live.
Oh God, we got in our already. We're what 10 minutes into this podcast and already talking about your ridiculous obsession with the woman, Becky Lynch.
Deal with it.
All right, CL Kid. I renamed your name. So real quick, Doozy, raise that again. What did you say there? What'd you post?
Oh, I'm sorry. Could you not read that? What that says there?
I hate baseball. Oh
Yes,
man, well, we got Vince and Henry watching from Dong City, and we're just throwing up some I hate baseball.
Oh, I hope they're not Cubs fans.
I have the home run derby on in the background that I keep checking over every now and then. They're running through that.
Nobody cares. Nobody cares about the NBA All-Star Game. Nobody cares about the home run derby.
Oh, okay, sure, but some of these home run derbies are actually pretty good. The Bryce Harper home run derby, Pete Alonso home run derby. We won't get into that, but I'll roll with what mine.
If WWE had a super suplex off the top rope derby, I'd watch that because that sounds way more interesting than a guy trying to belt the ball out of a park. Ooh.
Well, I'm a Latino Northerner that grew up playing, so I had to.
You made the list. What if Braun Strowman was up there shagging balls?
Yeah.
Did you see that guy topless, man, just hitting him like lame?
Why? So why is he gotta be topless?
He was. I don't know. I mean, it's Braun Strowman. That man. Wow, there was a mound of sweat after that. That little softball jack in the Dong City in the left field. Oh man. All right. Well, yeah. All right. CL Kid. What's that?
I said I'll continue with my swerve comment.
Yeah, let's hear your swerve comment, bro.
Anyway, I'm pretty much gonna get into the 24/7 belt. I don't know what you guys feel about this. I tend to watch Raw and SmackDown through Hulu. I don't watch it live. I watch it the next morning. If available on there. So for me, I don't know, SmackDown on Hulu, you get the entire episode. Raw, you get, a third or whatever it's clipped down to. So often or not, you don't really get the 24/7 match in there. I do, however, go back and look and see, I read, the articles based on what happened that didn't make the Hulu cut. But I think at some point now that they're starting to push the 24/7 belt to have singular matches rather than just chaos, who do you think fits the 24/7 belt mold in a way that you actually see that title rising up to a little bit of legitimacy, unlike where it is now?
Doozy, you want to go first?
I mean, I guess. To be honest with you, I look at this 24/7 belt as the Hardcore Championship remix, and I can't. The Hardcore Championship was actually fun. Because, I mean, this stuff comes out of nowhere. You can bring in anything. If you got a kitchen sink with you, hit them with it. This 24/7 belt, it's more like, hey, let's have a little match here. I'm going to get this pin. Boom, that's it. I do not see it becoming anywhere close to what the Hardcore Championship is. And I'm glad that R-Truth is carrying it. That man can carry it for the rest of his career, and I will still love it because he brings something to the table by being that champion, that 24/7, because he's always on. That's what you got to do when you're, have that 24/7 belt. Villain, what you got?
Yeah, I think that's where I'm super concerned. So if it's not on R-Truth, I don't care about it.
Same.
That's what it comes down to. And I'm trying to figure out
what's the guy's name that was paired up with
that's
he's the one who's had it recently.
Mojo Riley. Yeah.
Yeah, Mojo Riley's partner.
I don't know who it is, but those guys suck.
I'll do the research.
Look up. Hold on, I might find it here. Drake Maverick.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, if it's not R-Truth or Drake Maverick, like that whole storyline and going back and forth and the hilarity that they brought with Drake Maverick and the tweets and like getting married and they bashed his wedding, they crashed it, and R-Truth pinned him, and his wife is just livid about the whole situation. And then, just him tweeting himself with the belt and R-Truth just being hilarious, like sneaking in on their honeymoon. That was great. That's gold, Jerry, gold. And that stuff, they should have drove that into the ground. Drive it into the ground until we don't want to see it anymore, because trying to take that belt and say, okay, well, it's at this level now, and let's give it to these like mid-carders who have no charisma.
Riddick Moss was the guy I was referring to.
Riddick Moss, yeah. Who the hell is that? Okay. So I mean, that's like, it's terrible. And Raleigh, whatever his name is, Mojo, I don't even know at this point. Mojo Raleigh. He's not good, and he's only relevant again because Gronk's going to be there. But exactly. But I think they should have ridden it into the ground. It absolutely has become the hardcore title. It was intriguing that it could be, it was being won by random people. I think celebrities were winning it and pinning people, but then R-Truth would get it back the next day.
There's like 3 women who won it one night.
Yeah.
Carmella, it's just so stale. Like, how does this end, though, is my point. Like, I'm already done with it because, like you said, the R-Truth storyline was great because it was R-Truth and Maverick's storyline that's surrounded by the belt. Whereas now it's just, other than them two, it's so lame. And how do you extinguish that? Because I can't see this lasting for years to come. And how does it just go away one day?
I didn't know that R-Truth had won it again. That's how much I gave up on it. Like, I was like, I didn't think it was still a thing after Riddick Moss won it. So it surprises me that they gave it to R-Truth again. I wonder if that could make it more relevant now. To me, that's the only way they bring it back, is just have R-Truth in his ridiculous antics.
Right. Like, I'd like to see R-Truth being at a country club, getting ready to, tee off or something. All of a sudden he gets clothesline in the back. That would be interesting.
Yes.
That's something I would enjoy.
The Crash Holly angle. Crash Holly was, at a laundromat. He's at DZ Discovery Zone. He's at anywhere.
Yes, exactly. Yes.
Like chasing him down to get the pin, like in the ball pit.
That's why I wanted to go to Discovery Zone, is because I wanted to have a wrestling match in the ball pit. I thought that, and I was like, man, this would be awesome.
Hell yeah, dude. Love Discovery Zone. Oh, I miss those. Those are so good. Yeah. It's like a teenager's Chuck E. Cheese. It was good.
They have a knockdown, like a cheapo version somewhere nearby.
Here. Oh man, yeah. They still. I think they have one Blockbuster too, that's in existence. That's just for pure nostalgia.
In Australia, yeah.
Yeah. Man, that was the jam back in the day. Just Friday night, going to Blockbuster. Your mom comes in. Hey, you guys want to go to Blockbuster? Yeah.
Mom was around the corner. I walked.
You walked to Blockbuster. There you go.
And I had the monthly. You can only have one game because I was cheap. You can only have one game, but you can trade it in as many times as you want.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
I was getting Iggy's Wrecking Balls and stuff for Nintendo 64. Beetle Adventure Racing and whatever games they had, Blast Corps, that no one ever touched for Nintendo 64 because I had already gone through them all. Good times, though.
Next.
WCW versus NWO Revenge. All right, moving on, talking about nostalgia here. WWE is becoming, in my opinion, underrated for one aspect of something that they put on, and that's their music, the entrance music for their wrestlers. So our What's the Deal segment this week is what's the deal with AEW music? You can't even hear it. I don't even know what's going on, but AEW, Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor, all these other organizations, I can barely hear the entrance music. The songs aren't like good, in my opinion. Matt Hardy this week, actually, his was like loud and clear. And it's the piano theme, and it was great. And I was like, okay, here we go. Jericho's got Judas. But outside of that, why do you guys think that these other organizations don't replicate what WWE is doing, what WCW did back in the day, with making the entrances like in your face and memorable?
I mean, I'll take it first if you want to go with that. Something I've always mentioned, even to non-WWE fans, is the production value. Things like camera work, camera angles, lighting. all that stuff going into the music, way top-notch quality. Look back when they had, you know, Johnston doing everyone's songs, you know, Undertaker's theme, even though Triple H's theme was done by what's this band called? You know, I forget their name. Doesn't matter. They did like 2 or 3 WWE entrances with the music and the theme and all the playing behind it and the lyrics for the most part came from the one guy. So they had one person that essentially was writing the music, playing the instruments, coming up with the things, and even outsourcing bands to come in and do the songs, but they were still written and already pre-performed by that one guy. So he would get those bands to come in and say, hey, this is what I want done. Can you come in and just kind of change the lyrics up, add your own style to it? But for the most part, this is it. So that one person was able to produce Undertaker's theme and The Rock and all these people and all these amazing entrances
I didn't know
that you go, oh man, he's the man. Like he's done everything. Then they got rid of him. So when they got rid of him, when you had people like the Glorious theme and Nakamura's theme and all these things coming in, they hired 2 new producers that came in and they had pitched a couple ideas and then they end up getting a contract on.
Did those guys do Sami Zayn's music too?
I'm not sure if they did Sami Zayn's. They may have, because they did a few NXT people prior to me really getting into NXT. So at that time,
hate Sami Zayn.
But they really did the like Glorious was made for Shinsuke Nakamura. Initially. Yeah, it was made for Shinsuke Nakamura. They ended up running it with Bobby Roode, and you know, he took off with it and it made amazing. And they're like, well, that's not going to happen. We're not pulling that. So they came up with the Shinsuke Nakamura, you know, more rock thing, which has switched to the heel thing with the Japanese rapping in the background now. But now that switchover, just happening to have the right production behind it, coupled with NXT sourcing everything from Full Sail, which is a music production school. I mean, amongst other things.
Nice.
You notice little things like Kevin Owens' lighting work with the K and the O, and the light works that switch with the drums in between, has switched maybe 4 or 5 times since the first time he started coming out with that entrance to now. The exact same entrance with a different lighting scheme. So Randy Orton's, every time the guitar hits on Randy Orton's hits, the lights are flashing, they're just flickering, just a little strobe effect, giving different things. The attention to detail that WWE puts the money into by pulling away from doing pyro, which is back now, but taking all that money and putting it into the imagery and creating the aura that is wrestling in WWE is like unmatched, because these other companies, they just think it's all about the wrestling, it's all about the promo work, it's all about the characters. They don't produce the same level of energy and put the attention into it. You look at a live event, which I'm sure you've both been to, live events for WWE, if you watch a live event and the music hits and everything comes out, they use less of the stadium sound. So if you go to Amway here in Orlando and you go to a live event, you're not using all the same lights and production and things that you move around that you would use for Raw or SmackDown. So those level is like, that level is the same level as the AEW product. So that's about how much budget they're putting into it. Now you go to Raw or SmackDown, they're using everything. The lighting's huge, the walls there, everything's always dynamic. So I just don't think they're putting the money into it. I don't think they have the money to put into that kind of thing at this point. And I just think they're so indie based and indie feel that they don't even think to even take that to the next level, when they're just like, indie is all about the wrestling itself and the art of wrestling. We're not worried about being the image, you know?
Yeah, so that's the Shinsuke Nakamura part. That's super interesting to me, because I think he had that the music that he that he debuted with, at least back in New Japan Pro Wrestling. He had
with the violins.
Yeah, so they were gonna
actually introduced. He got with them too. He introduced that.
Yeah, and they were gonna flip him to Glorious, but they decided not to.
Yeah, well, what it was is that violinist pitched that I guess he had just, I don't know if he was a wrestling fan or what his thing was, but he had put that violin out there, that pattern, and then he connected with them in some way and got that, like, hey, I want to use this, maybe you can use this as an entrance, and then those producers came in and they made it into what it finally ended up being. That's why when he debuted, they had that, I was actually here in Orlando, when Shinsuke debuted, he had the live violinist too, playing. I don't know if that was on air, because it might have been during the dark match with Ziggler, but nonetheless, it was still a cool moment with the violin.
Felipe just chimed in and said, "No wonder I enjoy AEW so much." Interesting. Doozy, what do you think? Do you prefer not hearing the music, or do you want to hear the music when the wrestlers come out?
Okay, well let's think about this for a moment. Right now, there's nobody in the crowd. Okay, maybe they're cutting back on some production costs right now. AEW is still building themselves up. You know, some people know the entrance music of everybody who's coming out. Me, I couldn't tell you Darby Allin's music from Cody Rhodes' music, to be honest with you. And that's depressing because as a wrestling fan, you know your wrestler's music. You know, you hear the Warriors dum 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 dum, dum that you get pumped up. Okay.
Yeah.
Even when I hear Johnny Gargano's Rebel Heart, which is a terrible effing song, by the way, I still get pumped up. I still get pumped up because that's my dude. But you know, look back at the history of the people who didn't have music when they came out. You know, some people still jumped up for them. I can't remember Andre the Giant's theme. To my dying day, I will not, unless it's played for me, I will never remember it.
Yeah,
But
good point.
he's the one who stood out. He didn't need music. He didn't need a manager, but he had one. But it was Andre the freaking Giant. Okay. He's going to come up and he's going to pound you into submission. Same goes for some of these AEW wrestlers. You know, you have, who did Cody Rhodes won against Havoc this week? Very lackluster match. But they did stuff. I mean, their entrance ring is, you know, probably about the size of my room I'm in now to the bathroom, maybe about 10 steps. So it's not like they need this lavish, you know, all in your face. So they're saving it for the pay-per-views, you know, all of their entrance stuff. And, you know, when it comes to WWE, even before they had the Jumbotron, you know, when you hear, you know, Razor Ramon's music and, you know, Shawn Michaels, you know, you still get pumped up and it still blasts through. But, you know, I remember my time down when me and Brett, we went to see Fastlane. That was the most recent event I went to. And I mean, it was still loud. It was on the road to WrestleMania. They were in your face. It was loud. I mean, I could hear the person next to me barely, but that was a big event. That was, you know, it was that 6-man stuff, you know, the women's tag team. It was great. But I think right now it's just because, I mean, it's not like, you know, Seth Rollins lighting the torch and then all the way to the ring that, you know, we got that lane of fire. You know, this is just Raw, SmackDown, Dynamite, Impact. It's nothing. But when you get to the big stuff, that's when they go all out. And it's production, like Charles had said, it's production value. And right now, AEW's saved their money. What do they need to waste that money on for when they're still trying to build their talent?
But don't you think there's a brand side of it? Like, I feel like so this is what they're going to miss out on. 10 years later, when Cody Rhodes comes back after not being around, or he's injured and they want a surprise entrance to get the fans to pop in a moment, you're going to hear the music and go, I have no idea who the hell this is, and then have to wait for the wrestler to show up. Where I think that's what helps WWE with their comebacks, and they're 10 years later, someone come out of the woodworks. Like when you hear "If You Smell" and like you haven't seen him for a long time, you're like, oh my god, you pop, right? And so I can't see that with AEW, and that's why I say not just WWE but WCW back in the day. I mean, Goldberg's theme, Diamond Dallas Page's theme. Heck, we talked about the NWO a couple weeks ago and the Wolfpack's theme. I mean, those are themes you remember. And, you know, even Matt Bushnell's weighing in too. He can't enjoy anything WWE is doing. But, you know, I think overall that it's...
Well, that guy's an idiot.
Well, he's got good ideas, though. He came up with Total Isolation, which we'll talk about in a little bit. But I just think that you're missing a potential core piece of the brand. And, you know, Charlie gave us, you know, some good insight, because I don't think they are spending the money on hiring people. They're saying, just give them whatever the hell music is out. Let them pick their own music and whatever, and they just go out there. And
I think it's a big fail too.
Yeah,
I agree.
Matt is an idiot. Stupid idiot. Did you realize Jericho saying dumb idiot? Like, can he not say stupid idiot? Is that something owned by the WWE?
No way. You just
You
change
never
your
know, man. You never know the pettiness out there.
I wouldn't
Maybe
be
he just-
surprised.
Yeah.
That's
But
crazy.
yeah, I agree with you though. Definitely, Jake. You get a lot of this, the vibe and everything. Look at Edge's comeback. You didn't even see him on camera. The second you hear, you think you know me? No, I was sitting on this computer working on music, watching it on the network the day after in the morning. And like, I'm watching, it's the Rumble, obviously. It's like 2, 1, and that comes on. I was like, whoa, like I immediately, like fan darling, I just blew up. It was like, this is nuts. Because it's just so much emotion goes into that song hitting. When
6 to midnight.
How many Undertaker gong moments has there been where the gong just hits?
Oh yeah.
And then and you're just shocked. You're like, oh damn, perfect time for an Undertaker comeback. Over the years when he hasn't been around all year long, and Triple H goes to fire John Laurinaitis, and the gong hits and the lights go off. It's all
Jeez.
Laurinaitis.
Yeah, Shane McMahon coming out, The Rock coming back. Any of these things. When CM Punk ever signs to WWE, if it ever happens, and that music hits without any introduction prior to us knowing, it's going to be like the craziest moment in the past 5 years in terms of entrances. So just the music and the artistry that creates the larger than life atmosphere that goes along with the pyro and all these other things, it changes things. It makes it. I don't feel like the money needs to be saved there. Like that needs to happen in order for you to really create larger than life personalities. But I'm in my room and they're making money, so
it's definitely a variable to think about. Does it have a tremendous impact? I don't know. Something that I personally love. All right.
I think the top 5 all-time people in my list have crappy theme songs.
Big Boss Man.
Big Boss Man. I mean, Mark Jindrak, of course.
All right. So here's my favorite segment. It's Sound Bites of the Week, and this is where we review some interesting things our wrestlers have said, whether it's a tweet or it's during the live shows. Picked a couple this week. We're on short notice for the podcast this week, so we didn't get to put up a poll in the wrestling group. We will do that. Shout out to Wrestling Life next week. The 3 that I have for you, gentlemen. The first one is Jericho originally cut his promo on Vanguard 1 with Matt Hardy not in presence yet at AEW Dynamite. And he said to Vanguard 1, "You're a piece of shit, Vanguard." and then proceeded proceeded to ask Vanguard to join the Inner Circle, and then goes on this kind of rant about saying all the power will lie in the propellers, all the money you'll make, you'll be pouring bubbly down the gas tank, you'll be smoking the finest of mechanical cigars. He really was selling Vanguard in that promo. So you're a piece of shit, Vanguard. Soundbite of the week for Jericho. Eventually, Matt Hardy comes out and says to Chris Jericho, "You are an evil essence rotten to the core, truly a hole of the ass," to Chris Jericho, which I thought was
stupid.
Pretty hilarious.
That guy's a fucking chode, man.
We'll let you bash him in a moment. Next, hello, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So next was AJ Styles coming out, talking trash to The Undertaker, and he referred to Undertaker as the gothic version of the Tiger King. So for those of you that have been watching Netflix and this very interesting documentary about Joe Exotic and the people who own wild animals like tigers, he's definitely an interesting fellow, so I highly recommend watching that show. It's pretty hilarious and awesome. But he referred to Undertaker, along with Michelle McCool, as the gothic version of the Tiger King, after saying he's possibly the gothic version of Dog the Bounty Hunter as well. But in addition to that, he talked about Undertaker wearing diapers, Depends, and also wearing maternity pants as well. So out of those 3, what do you guys, which one was your favorite? CL Kid, let's start with you.
All right. I'll roll with that AJ Styles line. I remember last week we had talked a little bit about AEW, and I don't remember the particular quote that came up. Oh, okay, yeah, kicking the guy in the dick from behind, and how they're having more edge to what they're saying. You know, they're clearly not worried about cursing. They're not clearly like pushing the borders a little bit on things like that. And that's great for their brand. I think it's right up the alley for an indie scene. And not that that's an indie show, but it has that vibe, so it works really well. But I really love the AJ Styles thing. I am always, you know, a year behind on Netflix and TV, you know, watching. I still watch Seinfeld daily. All right. So for me, it's like, you know, I probably never watched this thing. But, you know, after he says the line, he even throws in a little like, oh, that was a good burn. Trust me on that one kind of thing. Like, I'm like, I was laughing. I didn't even know what the hell he was talking about. You know, obviously I've seen the memes and I've seen the posts and things like that. But it's like, I didn't know what they were referring to. But when I saw the picture in my head of the one meme, you know, the guy with the tiger, and then you look at Undertaker and I seen the picture with him with the tiger or something like that. And it worked really well. And I like the whole AJ Styles promo in general. But that line for me, even though having not seen it, it still made me giggle a little bit. So I'll go with that for sure. What do you think, Doozy?
You know what? I'm actually kind of torn. I love bashing on Matt Hardy. And, you know, when Chris Jericho, you know, is just saying all this stuff about him, I hate the Vanguard one. I hate anything that Matt Hardy does now. He's now on my number one list of hate. Anything that happens with him, I will hate it. I won't care. I don't care if it's something awesome. He could light fireworks from his ass and shoot it in outer space. I'll still hate the guy.
He might do that. That there's a good chance that could happen.
AEW's bringing back pyro.
Yeah. Okay. So anyway, but the AJ Styles thing, it's so funny because yes, we get it. The Undertaker is old. You're not that far behind, AJ. To be honest with you, what, you got maybe 10 years. So, I mean, kicking a guy in the dick because of wearing diapers, I get it. You know, that's funny. That's hilarious. But comparing him to the Gothic Tiger King, now that's just fucking hilarious. That right there is just so funny because if you haven't seen the show, it's a good watch. It makes you think, makes you wonder, like, man, this bitch is fucking crazy and this dude is fucking whack. But I don't look at The Undertaker that way. I mean, he's the American badass. You know, he's a phenom. He's everything. But to put him, imagine The Undertaker just with that haircut. Like, oh, man, I couldn't take that guy seriously. So, yeah, I got to go ahead and give it up for that one.
All right, that's fair. I think I'm right there with you. I did like Jericho's ridiculous promo he cut on Vanguard 1. I thought that was hilarious. I'm interested to see where that angle goes from here because I'm a huge Matt Hardy fan. I do like the deletion gimmick, but I actually wasn't crazy about his debut this week from a promo perspective. I actually thought Jericho had to carry him, and I didn't think it was that great. It got a little too weird right away, but I still am excited about it, and I think Doozy, you're a little.
I mean,
little
the best part of that night was Hager and Moxley. That was the best part of that night.
Yeah. Hey, I wonder if you know, they got to be careful that Hager just started wrestling again, so they shouldn't have. I don't think they can afford to have him lose.
No, you shouldn't. I mean, sorry to take away from what we're discussing here, but you know, I saw that, you know, he's coming back and everything like that, but throwing Moxley at him, you know, right away, I was like, come on, I don't know if this is right, you know, to put. I still look at him as swagger. I don't think it's good to put Jack in a match like that against Moxley when, you know, Jax has hurt people before. And so, I mean, I don't know.
MMA?
I think it's
a fight in MMA.
Who gives
Jack Swagger versus Dean Ambrose? Did you say MMA is retarded?
No, I would never say that R word. That word is not in my vocabulary. But what I will say is that MMA is, you know, for people who like to drink Busch Light and watch NASCAR on Sunday mornings.
Oh, God. Fleetwood Mac last week, MMA this week.
Hey, you know what? Just side note, not to pull away again, and it kind of pulls us back towards it. Doozy, when was it for you that you decided that you were going to be an all-in Matt Hardy hater? Was this like Hardy Boys Edge and Christian Dudley's TLC match? Or was this the second he goes to, you know, Impact and he's doing that whole thing? Or, you know, because Howdy 2.0 when he comes down the ramp and it says he uses a different toothbrush every day on the facts list or whatever. When was it
Okay,
that you finally
I started liking Matt Hardy again, WrestleMania, when him and Jeff came back.
here,
You know,
right?
that was awesome. That was so dope when, you know, the New Day was introducing them and they just came out huge pop. I mean,
Did you guys go to
I
that
had a,
Mania? I was there for that. I was there. That was nuts.
I had a semi. All right. So, but then, you know, Jeff's gone and Matt's like trying to do this broken thing. And he's doing that stupid fucking live. I never watched Impact. Never cared for it. Maybe it's because I hate Jeff Jarrett or who knows, many reasons. But it's just not a good gimmick. I'm sure he thinks it's fun. Everybody else thinks it's so great, you know, woke. No, it's not, guys. I told you this last week. I'm gonna tell you this every single podcast if we bring up Matt Hardy, because it's dumb. It literally sucks the intelligence out of my brain, puts it into my TV, which is a smart TV, and sends it to somebody else who thinks, oh, this is the greatest gimmick of all time. Probably you down there in Orlando, Charles. But but you know, if you're gonna say, you know, how long am I gonna stay on this Matt Hardy hate train? Man, I'm up in Ohio. We're going coast to coast with it, all right? So it's done.
Oh man, we might have to delete you out of this podcast.
I think we delete all of us here, so we can give them the triple delete.
Triple delete.
I bring the viewers, buddy.
Run away. That's fair. Run away. Classify yourself as obsolete.
Ultimate deletion.
Oh man. Well, always a classic. We'll have to definitely keep discussing his disinterest for the deletion gimmick each podcast that we talk. Going to the Wrestling Life group, we definitely want to look at the around the community and remind you of a few things going on. So number one, we actually have a pretty exciting prize right now. The person who refers the most friends to our group actually will get $100 prize that we will reveal in the next few weeks here to be given out in April, so early April. So keep bringing your wrestling buddies to the group. Brett Moore, who's missing today, has been running a really cool polls contest to really determine the best.
Really cool?
Very cool. Kind of cool.
It's all right.
It's all right.
Interesting.
It's an all right poll.
It's not that good.
Oh,
it's terrible.
Man. You know, talk that trash to his face.
Brett, you tell me? I talk that stuff to his face all the time.
That poor guy.
He's doing fantastic. You're right, Jake. He's doing a fantastic job with these polls, killing it.
Big Matt Hardy fan. He's a good guy.
He's good. He likes Fleetwood Mac. Fan of Fleetwood Mac. Matt Hardy.
Fuck off.
So character name Pat Riot, real name Matt Bushnell, thought of a really cool idea that we posted this week in Wrestling Life, which was, how would you book a pay-per-view called Total Isolation, which is themed after what's going on right now in the coronavirus universe. We got some interesting posts in there, like the Quarantine Chamber match, the COVID-19 Survivor Series. We had even some wrestlers known as Quarantine, like Velveteen Dream, Quarantine Dream. So Quarantine, this guy right here, he's 6 feet apart, and you can't catch that. So CL Kid, Total Isolation, you're Vince McMahon. How are you booking that bad boy this Sunday?
You definitely come out. You get AJ Styles booking a promo. He's out there doing his thing. And right when he calls out The Undertaker, instead of getting the Undertaker theme, you get the Vince McMahon music. He comes out and declares the Buried Alive, the Total Isolation match. How you leave your opponent completely isolated from the rest of the world. I think that's the only way that you could take a current gimmick and make it into something as stupid that would work. And him actually push it, put the graphics on the screen.
Okay. All right. Okay. Buried Alive match. We get it. Yeah. Buried Alive. People passing away from COVID-19. King Doozy, let's hear from you. How are you booking Total Isolation? Isolation.
All right. I think you guys remember that one ridiculous match we had with Bray Wyatt and Randy Orton at this haunted house. Okay. I'm still stupefied that I remember it and how
that's
terrible
right.
it was. Yes.
It's similar
So
to the
what I
match.
suggest is we have a hardcore podcast match. You put one person on one end, another person on the other. They're calling out the moves that they want to do. And if people are like, oh, yeah, okay. And then at the end of the match, just have somebody throw a chair at the computer, smash it up. That's the end of it. We don't know who wins, don't know who loses, don't care. Okay. Because that's how it's going to go.
Anonymous
don't
Raw
care.
GM is the winner of this match.
Right. Exactly.
A virtual wrestling match with podcasts. I like that. They actually did a social distancing match. Some indie group did it. It was terrible.
Oh, man. It was so
that,
funny. So dumb.
So dumb.
What was that WWE pay-per-view where you vote online, like Cyber, whatever?
Oh, yeah.
that?
Cyber
yeah.
Sunday.
Yeah.
I wonder
Kinda
how many of
tied
those votes actually counted, to be
How do
honest
we
with you.
know? Yeah, how do we know what the vote? They probably just rigged it and showed us like
It's
fake totals.
probably like the government came together with them. So like, we're going to shift the votes a little bit and this match is going to happen.
All right, well, get your pens ready because this next segment, King Doozy, let's hear what happens when you don't like certain things.
Oh, man, throwing the pen out of this one, even taking care of the blackboard, because right now I'm talking about how pissed off I am at Vince McMahon. You're going to try and sell me a pay-per-view event in which it's already been done. No live, nobody in there, pre-taped, and you spend $60 on it. If I not had WWE Network, I'd be like, well, no, I have the internet. I'll find out who wins from Facebook or whatever other social media I'm using. Because back in the day, I couldn't find out, until Monday Night Raw to find out who won on WrestleMania. Because I was a kid. I'm not spending $60. My parents be like, get the fuck out of here. But as a person who doesn't have WWE Network, and they could get it for free now, I understand that. But imagine having to pay for it and you're like, well, this is fucking stupid. Not only is it a 2-night event, but it's pre-taped. I've heard that they've done 2 different endings for the Lesnar match.
Great.
So you're going to like cut in the middle and try to paste it together give me a fucking break. Okay. No. Vince, you got no dick. All you had to do was just postpone it for a little bit. Some of your wrestlers may have made it through this. Some of your wrestlers may not have. But in the end, we get the WrestleMania that we deserve as people who pay you money to watch your shit. And right now, your shit's coming out in little tiny pebbles, bro, because it sucks. I'm out. Charles.
Definitely agree with that. Like I said last week, this thing should have been postponed. You get this Edge Orton match and all these big things that rely on pop and crowd to get behind. You're just ruining all of that. I'm going to go with Gronk and Mojo Rawley making my list. So definitely for sure. I'm all down with what Gronk did for the Patriots. Whatever. I'm not a Pats fan. That's
Fuck
fine.
him.
Amazing player, blah, 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 right? So when he came back here in Orlando to be in that stupid over-the-top battle royal garbage that they do for Mania, I had talked last week about walking in. That was the first moment I saw WrestleMania. I had just walked in right as that was going on, and Gronk's in the ring. I'm like, oh, come on. Like, and of course, everyone around me was loving it. They were just eating all over. Like, Gronk, big deal. And I know they like to cross-platform and get their other branded, people out there just to get more reach. I'm not with it, especially if you're going to have Gronk's. I know it's his friend, but if Mojo Rawley is going to be tied with the guy who's hosting WrestleMania in terms of, relativity, like it's terrible. Like, at least pair him with somebody. I know it's his friend, get him in, whatever. Pair him with somebody that has some legitimacy. I know New Day hosted recently. That was actually that same Mania. But, like, I would rather him be cool and buddy backstage with New Day, and then they kind of pair up and him play a smaller role as they really host it, than have him be any really part of this whatsoever. I think he looks scrawny. Not to say like, not to hate, but I mean, he doesn't look the part. He doesn't look big and bad. His hypeness isn't something that in our industry, in terms of WWE, is something that stand out like it is in the NFL as a personality when he's hosting all these, morning shows and he's high energy and you saw this. It's like it stands out.
He's high.
Yeah, he's high. It would be like, you can take someone with medium energy and put him on golf analysis, and you're gonna be like, man, this guy's great. He's so different and he stands out. But Gronk in WWE is just another guy with energy in a world full of people with better energy than Gronk. So it's just he doesn't do it for me. I don't think he's a relative star anymore. I don't really think that there's any real need for him, especially with no audience. What's the freaking point of having Gronk? Because I don't want to see him wrestle. He's already done the slight in-ring thing. And like, I don't want to ramble about him because I seem like some big Gronk hater all of a sudden, but it's just, I'm so done with WWE pandering to the bit of audience that they don't have. You get the free month if you're a non-subscriber. You get, we'll put music entertainers in here. We'll put concerts on. We'll put Pitbull or whoever to perform halfway through Mania or whatever. They're always trying to reach for the rest of the globe rather than really entertain the people like us that don't want announced comebacks told to me, before, oh, Austin's going to be here this day. I don't want to know that. Just let the music hit and let it be entertaining. Stop pandering to the rest of the entertainment world by putting Gronk on the damn WrestleMania card in the biggest possible way. So that won't go on forever, but yeah.
I think Gronk wasn't their first choice, actually. I think they got rejected from their first few choices. And he's
Sway Lee or some other notable small rapper.
I don't know. I mean, they pay these guys like $10 million or whatever, so it's a lot. Did you see though? Like they really ruined it even more because Gronk dancing to the ring.
Oh my God!
That was awful.
Like, it can't get any worse than that.
That was painful. What are they doing?
It can get worse than that, and we've already seen it. I think it was when they had Kid Rock singing at WrestleMania. That was probably the worst that they could have done it.
So tired.
I'll take Gronk dancing over Kid Rock singing at WrestleMania.
I'll give this. At least when Machine Gun Kelly came out, he had agreed to get powerbomb to the table off the edge of the arena. At least you gave him that. Like you said, he agreed. Like you didn't come in and do the, what's this guy's name who plays Wolverine? Like the
Hugh Jackman.
Or Hugh Jackman, or the punch, or the hip toss.
Fuck you for that shit. That's Wolverine, man. Dude, Marvel fan for life, bro.
Gross. DC.
Spend that $2 million and let CM Punk host the damn Mania. And
I need
see
a board. I should say the Avengers makes my list next. They missed an ample opportunity with Street Profits to host this WrestleMania. Maybe it'll be next year.
They're repetitive to me. I don't think they work in a all day kind of thing. Maybe, but if you do each night have a different host, it may work.
Yeah, the host thing is whack. Anyways, yeah. So
who's on your list, buddy?
Do you know what happens when someone who's a great heel becomes an unnecessary face? Do you know what happens when this person stops being the bully and starts protecting people from being bullied? Kevin Owens, you just made my list. I cannot stand every time I tune in and I see Kevin Owens' stupid Biff from Back to the Future / Buzz from Home Alone's face on my television screen, and he's spewing the same garbage that I can't stand of. I'm here to represent the people, and I'm going to talk to a heel about how the heel is bad to these people. There's nothing original about what he's saying. And in my opinion right now, Seth Rollins is carrying that feud. Kevin Owens is just, he's vanilla. He's plain. He's nothing good. He was great as a heel, and him, yes, exactly. Super white. And I just, I excused the scruffy face with bad hair and overweight look because he was such a solid heel and so good in the ring. But at this point, as a baby face, Come on, bro. No, we have too many faces. Be a heel. Let's get you back to being a heel. Get you. I can't buy it. And I can't buy the AOP or not the AOP, the Heavy Machinery, whoever he's with, they're pairing him with. It's not good. Not a fan.
You're right. It's not, because we look back, take a look at his NXT days when he was with Sami Zayn and, started becoming that great heel that we saw out of Kevin Owens for the past years. That was wonderful. He powerbombed Sami Zayn onto the ring, started just running stuff as the heel guy. And it was great. Brought it over to WWE. I hate Kevin Owens. I still hate that guy. But I hate him even more now because he's, oh, hey, I'm cool, guys. No, you're not. No, you're not. Shave your face, get a pompadour type hairstyle, because that's where your life is heading, bro. Basically, John Cena in a mini cup, okay? Because I don't want to see it. Nobody wants to see that. We want to see the evil KO, the one who's gonna he's gonna, get into the ring a little bit, then step out a little bit, and come in, sucker punch you, do that shitty stunner he does, and because he's doing it for the crowd. I'm telling you, that's what the reason he's got that stunner for, is because it's for the crowd. They want that stunner, so he's like, oh, I gotta get the crowd to like me. I'm gonna do the stunner. Fucking,
you know who they should have given the stunner to? I hate to say this, Becky Lynch.
Becky. I knew you were gonna say that.
They should have given it to her.
Nah.
Nope.
I don't think anybody should have the damn
already got her. Nobody should have the stunner.
No,
yeah, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair. That's a good call.
Just eventually spear or super kick, and that's fine.
Yeah, we got enough people doing that stuff.
Not enough people doing that.
Kevin Owens' heel was so dynamic, so rare that you get someone so good at being a heel while still having great in ring move sets, with a nice finisher, with a nice unique style that can deliver. Doesn't look the part, but that's fine because he's amazing. And then he switches to babyface. Then he gets stunner. Then he gets the same old politics. It's just, you're killing me here. I want to love this thing, but it's getting to the point that, I tell people like, I can't even say like, oh, I love WWE. I got to like try some other one-liner that maybe they don't know what that is. Kind of like when Jake and me met and we hit each other with the, oh, it's true. And we both realized. True. We both realized that we're WWE fans. We didn't have to say it, but that was just throwing the line out there. And it's like, that's what it's getting to. It's getting embarrassing to call myself a WWE fan. When you turn it on and you got, freaking babyface Kevin Owens and all this other garbage that's going on 24/7. Whatever. You know what I'm like.
They got to be careful, because now they're flirting with letting AEW is starting to rise. They got a lot of superpower over there. And so speaking of competition and WWE needing to step it up, this date in history, thanks to my brother from another mother, Jacob Anthony Moses, posting the Wrestling Life, 19 years ago today, we all tuned in to watch WCW Nitro and saw that Shane McMahon purchased WCW, and which then caused the Invasion Wars. King Doozy, where were you? And what was your reaction to this happening?
Funny thing is, 19 years ago today, I was in this house. This was the house that I grew up in. This is the house I purchased about 6 years ago from my mom.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yep. We had a nice L-shape sectional. TV was a box TV. You guys remember those things? And so I was sitting there watching. I'm flipping back and forth like I normally would on a Monday. And this segment comes on, and I'm like, holy shit. No matter which TV, no matter which channel I was on, USA, TNT, it didn't matter. They were showing me the same thing between Vince and Shane, that exchange. And it was great. I mean, not only seeing people getting clotheslined into the water on Nitro, that was fun. That was just hilarious. But all of a sudden, your whole world's just coming together. Like, oh man, this is awesome. We're still getting WCW a little bit, but Shane McMahon's running the show against Daddy. But we really weren't. But setting up the Invasion was great. And I remember that night. It's just one of those things that you see the fall of WCW and, the same old stuff from WWE just keep on going up until they, got to where they are now. And it's just like, teetering off, but still there. And it's Charles. You got to help me out back here.
No, I'm with you there, 100%. See, at the time, I was, obviously you watch both, watch WWE, or WWF, whatever, and you watch WCW. But like you said, like WWE or whatever you want to call it, was really pushing, and WCW was teetering, and then you get this moment where, as you said, just remember watching this on both channels and being like, man, it doesn't matter what channel I watch, we're getting the same thing. It really made me feel united with a lot of other fans that I probably never would have felt that from before. Especially, this is pre-social media. But I mean, like you said, I had a little crappy TV with like the VCR slot underneath it. That's how crap my TV was. And I had no remote. I mean, I had a remote, but most of the buttons were like wiped off. So there was no like jump button like to go from the last channel. So I was running back and forth between my room and the living room as a kid, like trying to see like how like when is one gonna break away from the other? And you get Shane on the TV coming out with it still says McMahon, but the contract reads Shane McMahon, and it made me like, whoa, like, how is this gonna work? I'm like, what are the video games gonna be like? What is this like? How is this gonna work? Are you gonna have like just random people jumping back and forth, or just how it is as wrestling fans when you talk about anything, talk about Mania, you talk about any big pay-per-view, and it's down the line, you already start making your conspiracy theories. Oh, I heard CM Punk might come back. Oh, who's gonna go against? Oh, what's the Taker match this year? And you're thinking of all these things over the years, not now, and you get so excited, and you come up with all these storylines that are never gonna happen because they're just gonna go with the obvious. But that moment for me, I remember being a kid and sitting in that room being like shocked, like looking around, like I wish there were other people for me to, at this time I can grab my phone, but at that time, like to share this with, and like, because I was just like coming out of my own seat as a kid and thinking there's no way that something like this has ever been felt by anybody. It was just so new and dynamic. It was cool.
Oh yeah. I remember, let's see, I was like 13, 14 years old. I was getting ready to click over to 69 and try to weed through the green lines on my screen to see some boobies. Before that, yeah, I was watching in my room on my little box TV, flipping back and forth. And I remember just not even watching WWE because I was just like, oh my God, this is crazy. This is it for WCW. And back then, you didn't have the spoiler alerts. You didn't have social media to kind of know these things. And so as a kid, you're really surprised and you're caught in the moment. You pop like a true fan. It really was something special that you got amped about. And I think you guys both bring up good points where, man, now you're like, we're going to see all these wrestlers that we've been curious to see them fight the wrestlers in WWE. We're going to get to see that now. And they did it so well with bringing that angle over and having it wound up becoming a triple invasion because you had ECW join as well. And it really was just an incredible time.
For sure.
I think back to when that was going on, WCW, I think we all remember the night when WCW announced that Mankind was going to win the title against The Rock. So what did we all do?
Yeah.
Flipped it over. We're going to watch that match, man. I don't care what Tony Schiavone. I don't care what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Flipping it over, buddy.
Oh, does he regret that? Up. That killed them. Yeah, that was bad.
Yep.
That was bad. All right. Well, it's 9:10 Eastern time on March 20th.
Before we go,
Pod Jobbers is yes. Let's hear it.
Before we go, Vice's extra anthology, Dark Side of the Ring, is continuing on and it's going strong. If you guys have not seen it, I recommend it highly. The Benoit two-parter was amazing. Chris Jericho took the reins on all of it and led us down that terrible and tragic road. Okay. Yeah. We remember the night that it was all about Chris Benoit, the dinging of the bells, and it was just all tribute. And then the next night it's all like, yeah, we regret to inform you, we forget all about Chris Benoit. I, for one, will never forget Chris Benoit. I get what he did was shitty, but as a wrestler and as a wrestling fan, I still like Chris Benoit. I liked what he did. And so get out there, watch the new episodes because this takes you on down the dark path of what's going on, what's really going on behind these scenes and what's happening with people. So I suggest you guys get out there and watch it. It's really, really entertaining.
You made me want to watch it right after this. So that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I would, to be honest with you.
Awesome. All right, gentlemen, pleasure as always. Next week, we'll be back with Brett Moore. Thank you, listeners out there. See you later, Marks.